What's up, man? How was your vacation?
All right, bro. It rained the whole week.
Yeah, it's been rainy here. Where'd you go?
Well, we went to Florida for one day. But we intended to stay longer, but we wanted to go earlier in the week. But because it was raining every day, we just waited until I looked at the app and it showed that it was going to be clear that day. So we go out there for one day, and we had a good time on the beach. Water was really pretty. It was super clear. Some of the clearest that I've seen it in Florida. And then
That's good.
Yeah, we woke up the next morning and had a little scare with the pregnancy. I won't go into too much detail there. So we rushed back and went to the hospital to get Tiffany checked out. Everything's all good. Everything's good, thank God. We got to check up on Tuesday. Everything's good there too. But yeah, we intended to stay like the next day, at least one more night, and have at least 2 whole days on the beach. But we had to rush back and get to the hospital. But it's all good. It's all good, man.
I'm glad everything is good. That's a bad scare.
Yeah, it was, but we're good. We're in the clear.
Good.
So yeah, what was up with you? What did you do last week?
Worked a lot. I messed with my new computer.
Oh yeah, how you're liking your new Mac Mini?
It's wonderful. Super fast, man.
It's fast as fuck, huh?
It's super fast.
The M1s are ridiculously fast. It's quiet too, huh?
Yeah, I haven't heard the fan turn on once. I haven't multitasked a lot, but I've definitely. It's just like instant.
Yeah, everything. I know.
It's just boom. The problem I had was, we texted a little bit about it, was the plugins. The new M1 processor it's a good thing because it's too good. It's not like it's just they fucked up and there's a bug.
Yeah.
It's like the plugins don't work because the processor is just too good. It's new. So I guess, there's a short story and a long story. The short story is still kind of long.
Go through the long story. Fuck it. It's a podcast. It doesn't matter. We're not.
So that's a terrible way to start the long story. Is just okay. So like, damn, this is gonna be so long. No, it's not that bad. But first thing, I started the Mac Mini and it installed Rosetta. I was like, okay, I don't know what that is, but
So
I have Rosetta.
So for the listeners, Rosetta with the Mac Mini, some apps are with the M1 processor.
The new
some
Macs.
Yeah. Any of the new Macs with the M1 processors. Some apps are designed to run what they call native, where it's fully optimized to take full advantage of the M1 processor. And some apps will run with Rosetta, where it basically they coded this thing into the OS, Mac OS Big Sur, where it will automatically open up and launch those programs if you have it Rosetta installed, even if those programs weren't optimized to run on the M1 Mac. That was the intention behind the Rosetta software, or as the way I understood it.
Is there a Rosetta 2?
Well, Rosetta 2 is the only one that they would just call it Rosetta.
It's the same
Rosetta,
thing.
Because back in the day, like a long time ago, this isn't the first time Apple's made their own chips. Back in probably maybe the late 90s, early 2000s, they made their own processors back then. And they had...
Sorry.
What?
The word chips and the word jobs make me laugh. I don't know why.
What?
So you said chips, and you said it perfect, dude. It's like the funniest way it's just chips. You know that economist who's on TV and he's always talking about jobs. We need more jobs. I think it's Peter Schiff or somebody. I don't know. It was that video that made it, but he just says jobs, real jobs. Got to increase the jobs and we're back to jobs. And it got to the point where I was laughing every time he said jobs because it started to sound funny. And chips is the same thing.
Instead of saying, I didn't want to have to say processor a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, say processor so I don't laugh.
I'm just going to have to say processor every time.
I'm not laughing at you either.
Apple made their own processors
Thanks.
a long time ago, and they had the same issue. It wasn't an issue, but they had the same challenge where they had to ensure that developers of software could take full advantage of that hardware. So they gave them this coding Rosetta software that they could implement into their apps. So that this is technically the second version of it. Although whenever you load it, I guess on your Mac it just says Rosetta, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I figured as much, because I mean it was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The last version was out.
Yeah, so there was a learning curve for me, and then I knew it would be the biggest problem would be transferring the licenses for all of my audio plugins.
Yeah.
Which most of them was easy because they're managed in Waves Central, which is an app you have to download to. Have you ever bought third-party plugins?
I have third-party plugins, but not that I've bought.
Oh, okay, got it. So whenever you buy third-party plugins, you have to get an iLock account, and you get a dongle, and you have to get a Wave Central and manage your licenses. Those
That's how I make sure you're not fucking stealing it.
They what? Oh, yeah. So I transferred my licenses. Most of them was easy. The ones with Slate, I had to go to the website, log in, link my account. So I got all that transferred, but Logic, see, there were multiple things along the way that were troublesome, and I didn't figure it out till later. Mainly, the first thing I figured out was that Waves version 10, 11, and 12 plugins are compatible with Rosetta and should work fine. Most of my Waves plugins are version 10 and version 9. So once I realized that, I realized the Waves plugins that were working for me and did successfully scan were version 10. It's like, okay, well, maybe let me try to upgrade, but it was like $240 to upgrade. Like, so I clicked off plugins, and then it was like 180, and then 100. I was like, okay, we're getting closer. Until eventually I just upgraded one plugin for $12, and it still wouldn't load in Logic.
That one plugin that you upgraded wouldn't load?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so maybe V12 isn't necessarily compatible with Rosetta. I'm kind of taking my chances. But then I read the Waves conversation again, and they mentioned V10, V11, and V12 plugins are compatible with Rosetta on these DAWs. Any other DAWs will have problem. Logic wasn't one of those DAWs.
Why wouldn't they make it?
But some of my plugins still do work with Logic.
It's aggravating.
And I have the same amount of plugins for Waves running in Studio One. So I don't think that ultimately was a Logic issue. The problem I was really having with Logic was that my startup action,
Excuse me. Sorry.
my startup action for Logic was programmed to most recent project instead of opening up to the template screen. So every time I would launch Logic, it would start scanning plugins that
find them
weren't compatible, and my licenses didn't transfer for some of them. So the problem I was having was it was freezing at the end of the scan. So I was never getting open to the project to change settings. So then I could go through individually and scan plugins and be like, okay, this one doesn't work, and really dig in. So finally, I clicked a different button in Logic. Instead of quit or activate for a plugin that it was scanning, I clicked try, and it logged into my iLock, and it activated it. I activated a few of them. I was like, oh shit. And then it opened up the project, so then I could change my settings, so then I could fuck with Logic better. But still, I upgraded from Studio One 3 to Studio One 5 because I saw that that was a DAW where things are more compatible with Waves plugins.
Mm-hmm.
And those are majority of my plugins. But in that scan for Studio One 5, which at that point went perfect, except for a few, I got all of my Sound Toys plugins back. So at some point in my MacBook Pro years, I had turned off some of my Sound Toys plugins. And I don't know why. Maybe my license was done. But I only had Decapitator and Overdrive. Now I have 3 that have scanned in Logic on the Mac Mini, but I have like 12 that have scanned in Studio One 5, Artist 5. So I've gotten more plugins from a couple other companies back, but the same amount of waves. So I think still Logic is having some compatibility issues. But that makes sense to me. I was thinking about it, and it's like, it's not because Logic sucks. It's because Logic is native to Apple, which is the mother of the processor. So it makes sense that it would be more dedicated to the M1.
It is.
And struggle more to run the old stuff, because the old stuff is still built around the old stuff, like Studio One, you know? So it made sense that Logic would be more incompatible. But
Logic is a native app. It's not running on Rosetta, you know?
Yeah, it's exactly. But it was, so I got some of my plugins in Logic. It's running, but I got more in Studio One. I want to try that program out. I got some shit happening. I just finished 75 pages of mixing notes from these 5 books I bought.
Jesus.
So I'm ready to mix. I feel like my game upped. So I'm really ready and master like this whole book on
Are you doing bands around? Are you doing bands around you?
I'm doing my band, Alfred and the Tednators.
No, I know that, but I mean,
I'm doing Son of a Gun.
I know that.
Yeah,
but you need
I'm
to
still
start,
working on all that.
Marketing yourself like around your area, like start fucking.
That's what these projects are for, and all the shit I'm doing now is so Alfred, our hip hop shit.
Because you're getting to that level where
Son of a Gun.
You can start you could start produce recording local bands in your area. You're at that level now, you know.
Thank you, but I'm waiting to put out the Son of a Gun record, which will be my magnum opus to date. Because the Son of a Gun single is when I figured out how to get it loud and full, which was mastering with a multi-band limiter, not a single band. Sucked all the body out on my old mixes. My mixes were good, but I mastered wrong. So I'm trying to get something real solid out there before I market, like you're saying. And that's why I bought the Mac Mini. That's why I'm doing all these notes, because I'm about to crank out the Son of a Gun record. I'm going to remix the 2 releases they did.
So you're doing the mixing and mastering yourself?
Editing.
Also someone else for mastering?
Fuck no. I've been learning to do all that shit myself. I am the guy now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can do it. I just needed a machine that can handle it.
Now you have a good machine to do it on.
I got PreSonus monitors, PreSonus sub, nice headphones. You know, I'm ready. I just need time off of work to do a week. You know what I mean? I'm chipping away in these little sessions right now. But once I get this Alfred record out, more hip hop from me and you, which I'm going to do live drums on the record release.
You have a space to do that in now, right?
Yeah, this studio 10 minutes away, the rental studio in town.
That's fucking awesome.
And the drum room for just the drummer is super cheap, 16 hours for $40. So I can just like get a whole day every week and a half and just crank it.
It's a studio, so it's set up for recording.
It's a room.
Okay, so you bring your Mac Mini.
I'm going to track on the MacBook Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Track on the MacBook Pro, get the rough tracks in. Bring it back to Mac Mini.
Yeah.
Bounce it. Cool.
Exactly. And then, so I'll be able to get a lot done in 16 hours if I'm practiced here in the meantime. Just go in and crank out. I can start doing drum tracks now. Super stoked, man.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so for the rap stuff, I want to release the beat tape. The instrumental, basically, under like the production name, and then re-release it with the verses and live drums. See what I'm saying?
The beat tape will be like kind of marketing for production and stuff for you.
Yeah, and it'll be a way to release something.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
just more content. Yeah.
To consistently release is the concept, I think. So every single will be a double release. But I won't be releasing everything on the instrumental because there's no drums, no vocals, maybe no guitar on all of them, you know? You do, no, just to get it out there. But like, I got 8 or 9 songs ready right now. So if you did like 2 or 3, I could release the beat tape, and then you can finish the other ones. I'll finish my shit, drums and vocals, and that'll be the record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The beat tape is just like a bare bone instrumental. Boom. Whatever I'm talking about. Oh, live drums on the
live
beat
drums.
Tapes. Yeah, on the raps. So ready to rock and roll, man.
Man, I have been in a mode where I want to get some new gear lately.
What kind of gear? Guitar gear?
Well, yeah. I need some more live gear. Not that it's going to help us much, but I need some more live gear for Golgothan. Like my head that I had been using for years. I've been borrowing a head for probably 3 years now.
That's like the same thing as a drummer having shitty cymbals. Like my buddy who's a really good drummer, his cymbals are still like the bass level. So you borrowed heads, that's like the same. Well,
I'm borrowing like really nice head, and not like it's John. It's my other guitarist. Like he has.
I guess it's not the same thing. It would be like a drummer borrowing.
He
cymbals.
has a bunch. John has a bunch of heads. He has like this like $3,000 Marshall that I've been using, or a Black Star.
Oh, you're using not shitty heads.
Yeah, not shitty heads. And he has his main head that he uses is an Ingle. Well, last practice.
Never even heard of it. Must be good.
You never heard of Ingle?
No, sorry, man.
It's a German company, but their heads are fucking amazing, especially for heavy music. He brought his he brought an Ingle Invader last practice from his other guitarist in one of his other bands, and I couldn't believe the difference it made to have like 2 really high-end amps like that live. It made the punchiness of like just a trim riff, right? It was so tight. You could hear every single note I played. The sustain went forever. Like I was giddy like a little kid the entire practice. Like it was weird. Like I was so pumped the whole practice. It's like a $3,100 head. It's a fucking really expensive head.
Combined with your good guitar.
Yeah, and I have a good guitar too.
So you got like this double force of sound. You got a perfect, amazing.
Well, excuse me. It was between I have an Ingle head that I'm playing through a nice guitar. John has an Ingle head that he was playing through, and he has this Ormsby, this custom guitar. It's like a $2,000 guitar as well, and just the tone was unbelievable. It made me be like, all right, like I have to get one of these now. Like I have to get one. It was almost that type of feeling. So I've been gear hunting lately and just kind of trying to find deals and stuff like that on both heads and guitars. But yeah, I mean, even if I do end up getting a nice head like that, we could use that for us for like tracking, like reamping and stuff.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that would help us a ton, because the Death of Skepsis record is really the magnum opus, at least personally speaking, selfishly speaking. That's what this is all about, is for me to produce Death of Skepsis shit and it sound like it came out of a studio, because it's gonna. Yeah. So with that being said, you get a nice rig. I don't want to go direct in and create a sound, and I want to get your amp with multiple mics. That's the best way, and that's the only way. Like, that's it.
We'd reamp it.
Yeah. You can track clean.
Track DI
exactly.
Clean, get it super tight. Run it, reamp it. Boom.
Yeah. So it's gonna get used on the record.
That's what we did with Golgothan.
Even not for Golgothan, you're gonna have to.
No, I'm saying, but that's what we did on this last Golgothan record. We didn't use 2 Ingles. We used an Ingle, like 1 Ingle and a Black Star.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's groovy.
Yeah, we would. But what we could do the Ingle and just do 2 tracks and then shape the tone differently a little bit on each track.
Yeah,
left and right.
That's perfect.
Super fixed.
You what was I gonna say? We're gonna play again. That's what I was gonna say. We're gonna play again.
Yeah.
Steve-O's girlfriend, he sent me a screenshot of the text. I might have told you this. Said, whenever we're ready to gig again, let her brother-in-law know, because he's Oh, it was a text with her and her brother-in-law. He said, yeah, let me know when your friends are ready to start playing because I have tons of connections in all the metal bars here in Austin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And Steve-O sent me that. So that's Steve-O taking initiative like, hey, so that's good that Steve-O's like, hey, you know,
Yeah. And Neil
we got a show. We got
Neil
connections.
Neil was also messaging me about it the other day, too.
Oh, was he?
Just DMing me, yeah.
What'd he say? About a show?
He's like, hey, man, it's like, are you in to do it? It's like, yeah, you know.
How long ago was that? Like last week?
Weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
Ago. Yeah, went long ago. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
No, we were talking about crypto right beforehand, right?
Yeah, and how Elon talks shit and crashed Bitcoin.
I don't know if he talks shit, but he kind of talked a little shit. He said that Tesla is no longer going to invest in Bitcoin or accept Bitcoin as payment anymore because of the environmental impact that the Bitcoin currently has.
That kind of makes my blood boil for what he's doing in Tanzania and his exploitation of the Earth's minerals for his...
I'm pretty sure he tweeted that. Let me see if I can find the tweet.
What a fucking piece of shit. Wow, man.
I don't want to put words in Elon's mouth.
It's all coming out, man. This guy is such a pawn. He's working for the military. I think his boring company... Hey, man, we're going to talk about this in the Phil Schneider episode, so maybe I should hold it. But I'm going to say that...
Hold it.
I'll say that Elon's boring company is 100% a front. What he's really doing is digging and building underground bases for the military. So they didn't do no Hyperloop that works in California. They built an underground military base. They're building that thing there. He's a military contract pawn.
Okay, here we go. I found it.
His fucking Teslas are gonna ruin.
Let me screen share you.
his Teslas are ripping minerals out of the earth. Like,
oh, you're gonna be incensed. This is gonna be funny. Okay. So Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We're also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction.
See, but this is so stupid because if the other cryptocurrencies become as big as Bitcoin, they're going to do the same thing. And all the other cryptocurrencies combined are probably doing more damage than Bitcoin alone. So this is such a hollow argument that only dumb people will fall for. Not dumb people, because it's easy to fall for his shit, but...
Working with Doge devs to improve system transaction efficiency, potentially promising.
So I think either way, Dogecoin's going to blow up, at least for a little while. It's going to at least get to $10. I was doing the math. If you buy right now, it's less than 50 cents a coin. If you spend, I think it's about $568 on 1,400 Dogecoin. If it gets up to $5 a coin, which is totally possible, dude, you got $7,000. And if it just gets up to $10, you got $14,000 off of less than 600. That's just $5 or $10. It could go to where Chainlink is at, $28. It was just over 40. It got up to 50.
I need to drop some money in Dogecoin.
This is not a financial investment piece of advice.
Then I can go turn around and buy an email invader for $3,100. Boom! That's the plan. All right, crypto's getting me there.
Yeah, man. Crypto's going to get me to property. I'm waiting for it to double and triple until I'm right in your shot.
Sell some stock, but fuck it. I'm going to invest in crypto. Do it that way.
I would actually probably stay away from Bitcoin because I put most of my money when I invested on Bitcoin because it's a bigger number, you know, it's 50,000 a coin. Whoa. But it's actually done poorer performance. That's terrible English. It's performed worse, more poorly than the other 3 coins I put less money on. Ethereum more than doubled, and it's still riding hot, even though it's super low. Litecoin more than doubled. Chainlink more than doubled. Like if I would have Dogecoin, since I invested, it was like 20 cents and it jumped up to 40. Now it's floating at 45 and gets up to 60.
What's the moon one? The moon coin or whatever?
I don't know.
There's another one.
I don't know. There's a few I hear talked about. Anchor Coin is another one.
Moon or something like that.
Filecoin is super low. It got up to over 200 and it's down to about 70 right now. It fluctuates a lot, but you could get it low, wait for it to jump up to its high, and just sell it.
You got to look at the trend, the long-term trends too.
Yes. One of our recent episodes talked about Dow theory and how to break
definitely not the best source of information for it. Just go Google it. But if you want to go listen to an old episode and hear us talk shit and kind of fumble through Dow theory, go check it out.
Yeah, and speaking of you refilling coffee.
Yes. So I found out that you and I are in peak cardiovascular physical condition.
I gained weight.
That?
I saw myself in video. How do you know that?
Because this fucking study says so. The study says that your genetic code and your cardiovascular health drives your desire for coffee. And I know you drink a lot of coffee, and I drink a lot of coffee.
Yes. How much do you drink in volume? I drink consistently and frequently. I don't know if it's a lot in volume.
I don't know. Like I drink usually 10-ounce cups of coffee, or roughly around a 10-ounce cup.
Okay.
And I'm drinking it 3 to 4 times a day.
Okay. Just all day or just in the mornings?
I'll have like 2 in the mornings and then 1 after lunch and then late afternoon. Yeah.
Okay. That's more hardcore than me. I can't do that. I will dehydrate. I have to stay hydrated.
I have water that I keep by me with the coffee at all times too. So I'm drinking coffee and water.
Okay.
Coffee and water. That's pretty much all I drink.
Okay, that's good. Do you know about D-aspartic acid?
No.
It's awesome. It's cheap and it's awesome. But it reminds me of restoring your adrenal glands after drinking a lot of coffee. Because that's one thing that coffee could do is drain the adrenal glands, and then you have that kind of crash.
Yeah, everyone talks about it. I don't ever feel like a crash or anything like that from it.
You're probably used to it, and you do it well. Maybe you eat good too.
I eat decent. I do exercise every day. That probably helps.
I do not. I've actually gained weight. I saw myself in video. I took my first 4K video and bounced it with my Mac Mini. It is 60 frames per second, 4K. Me and my wife were kicking the soccer ball. Dude, the soccer ball flew right by the camera. I swear to you, I saw every detail, including the Nike check, boom, fly by. I had to rewind it. I watched it 2 or 3 times. I was like, holy shit. You could see the Nike check from like across the yard almost.
That's badass. 4K 60 frames a second, huh?
Yeah, so I'm going to go do some drum casts now that I got the studio with 4K.
You saw yourself in the video and you gained weight.
Oh, yes. I had, I got my skinny fat Nate Diaz belly, and I think I had a boob. It looked like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, fuck, man. So I'm done bulking. Now it's time to get on the diet and work out. I'm 164. No breakfast after a bowel movement.
Dude, you know what? Coffee. I think you weigh more than, like, almost as much as me now, Dylan.
I've been trying to gain weight, dude. I've been way too skinny my whole life.
You have. You've always been skinny, and I don't know. You're probably about my height, though, so... Yeah,
we're the same height.
You should weigh close to my weight, probably.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, get there. So now I'm there, saw myself in video. I think I'm getting kind of fat.
So now you're going to start working out?
I mean, I do work out, just not every day.
I got you. Oh, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Most people don't even work out, so...
No, I worked out the other day. I started going for 100 push-ups, 100 squats, which is harder than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I've added the jump rope. I'm doing 500. I do 10 sets of 50. I like to do circuits. I do the kettlebell swing, push-ups, jump rope, 40-second break, and I just But then I'll take 4 or 5 days off and have pancakes for breakfast every day.
If you want a good app for, like there's this good app that I use called Timer Plus that you could use to just create your own like HIIT workouts and shit with.
Sure, send me the link.
You just create your own intervals. Like I'll do like 35-second intervals of like a certain move or exercise with 15-second rest in between, and just do like 3 rounds of 4 exercises, right? And it's like almost 10 minutes, you know, and then you can like structure like a 30 or 40-minute workout in the morning with that. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, that would be cool. I've been doing P90X.
Talk about really work a sweat up too. You got like a kettlebell, like a 30 or 60-pound kettlebell or something.
Yeah, send me that. I've been doing P90X, but it's harder now living in the RV because I got to do it outside.
Yeah, you're shaking the RV every time you do it.
And we moved into the winter, so it's been constantly cold and snowing.
Yeah, it was snowing. That was one of the things I talked about with Tiffany when we were considering vacation. I was like, man, maybe we should just drive to Colorado. It's raining at the beach every day. I look at the Colorado's weather.
You need to come to Colorado this summer.
It's fucking snowing over there right now in the middle of May.
You need to come to Colorado, man. Man, bring your bike, whatever you like to roll on. The trails here, the sidewalks, it's not like Lafayette, man. This place is a utopia for riding around. I downloaded an app yesterday called All Trails.
Yeah, I have it.
You have that? Yeah, man. Yeah. So there's me and Ford are going on Monday to the Frisco Copper Mountain Trail. It's like an hour, 20 minutes out. And it's downhill for 7.1 miles. It's like a 2.5 hour trail. You just cruise down the mountain to Frisco, work your way back up, have all kind of stuff. But just in Denver, man, there's just type in Denver, type in Lakewood, type in some little areas, and dude, it's all fucking over here. You gotta come.
Oh, I've seen. Trust me, I have the All Trails app, and I've dug really deep in it and like looked all over the country, and definitely Colorado has been one of the places I want to go hike.
Come, man, come.
Go hike and take on some of those hard trails they have over there.
I don't know if we can host guests in the RV. We'd be willing to if y'all are adventurous enough. The options there. You probably wouldn't want to, but yeah, man.
You got a hotel for cheap over there, I'm sure. Good, but yeah, we will one day, but we have a baby coming in less than a month, so not anytime soon.
Wow. Oh, okay. Cool. So,
but no, I wish I could maybe late summer, if anything.
Man, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, but go ahead. Coffee drinkers.
Yeah, cardio. But on the flip side, in Australia, 1 in 4 men and 1 in 5 women suffer from high blood pressure because proper blood pressure was one of the biomarkers. No, that was a different one. Fuck me. Proper blood pressure was an indicator of being able to drink more coffee. So people with high blood pressure, risk of chronic health conditions like stroke, heart failure, and kidney disease, they didn't do too well. They didn't drink coffee. But is comparing this with baseline levels of systolic and diastolic blood pressure, baseline heart rate. Causal relationships were determined via Mendelian randomization. So basically, if you're healthy, your body will tell you that it wants coffee. That's basically what this article says, is that we have a genetic mechanism that will regulate our want for coffee based on our health, right, which is rooted around cardio.
Or more so even that, like, if you have underlying cardiovascular issues or health issues, your body is going to tell you, like, hey, that's why you don't want that other cup of coffee. That's why you're feeling a little sick from the first cup. Like, put it down, because you have your blood pressure is probably elevated. You know,
your body will tell you a lot of things it needs. Yeah. That's why working out helps you eat better, because after a workout, your body is telling you, I want some good shit right now. Whereas when you don't work out, your body doesn't tell you that. So it's harder to eat, something healthy than after a couple hundred push-ups, a few thousand squats, 90 minutes on the jump rope. That's my normal workout.
Hey, man.
I'm joking. That's intense.
That's enough.
The Mendelian randomization was curious. It is a method of using measured variation in genes of known function to examine the causal effect of a modifiable exposure on disease in observational studies. I didn't get that, but that's what it is.
Yeah, got you. So it's something with epidemiology. Cool. Thank you for clarifying.
This is what I conflated with earlier, was that the other article about the size of your meal is predicted by what you ate. Basically, the increased appetite is directly associated with
blood sugar. But I thought that wasn't. I didn't think that was like a new thing.
No, I didn't.
I thought that was like a well-known thing already. Like you have I have low blood sugar. I need to go eat something. Like people always say that. So like, I saw this. I was like, okay, cool. Maybe this is just confirming. Like now we didn't know that for sure. Now we have scientific evidence that they did a study of these 1,070 healthy adults in the UK and the US. They ate breakfast and then fasted for 3 hours. After that, they tested. They let them eat what they wanted. They wore sensors that monitored their blood sugar levels throughout the day. And the groups that had blood sugar, bigger drops in blood sugar levels, ate larger meals.
Yeah. So I guess it is a bit more specific than what we knew before, because they actually quantified in a whatever kind of study that is, that if you have a bigger drop in blood sugar, you will eat more food. It's not that you will be hungry the same as the next guy.
Yeah, and I guess so. What the last sentence is saying, the authors say that the study, which is the largest of its kind, provides the best evidence yet that blood sugar dips could be the possible biomarker for appetite.
Biomarker, that's what I messed up. That's it. Yeah, biomarker, blood dips, and eating junk food. That's one reason I get so hungry, is because I start the day off. I have good food, but got to throw in some cinnamon rolls with the coffee.
I get it, dude. The mouth pleasure is real. It's comforting. I understand.
I used to intermittent fast.
You have a little bit of that in life. I do that still. I do that most days.
I would skip breakfast, eat good later, and pig out at night. And Ford always makes breakfast, so eventually I gave in, and now I'm eating big breakfasts, which is good because I'm trying to bulk, and I recently learned that intermittent fasting is not good for bulking. It's good for you, but it's not good specifically trying to bulk.
Not to build lean muscle mass. It is not.
Yeah. So I've been embracing the food. Now I need to watch it because I'm in 4K, you can see my nipples.
You see a little bit of boob jiggle.
A little bit.
You're probably not at the jiggling boob point yet, but
no, my shirt was thin, old, beat up gray shirt, and it was a kind of small. So
whatever. It looks like I got boobs sometimes, I guess.
Nah, I don't see nothing there.
Fuck it, I don't care.
The biggest find for me this week was that a clock's accuracy may be tied to the entropy it creates. And I think they're talking about quantum clocks. Basically, it creates heat every time it ticks. So
they're just talking about regular clocks in this article.
I read in this article that they
tested it with a quantum clock, but they made a larger version of a clock, which was still very small, and measured it again, and found that it had the same effect in entropy. Like, that's my real dumb way of breaking that article down. But yeah, their theory is that they think it probably applies to all clocks, even like battery-powered clocks.
And entropy is nothing more than basically heat, because the molecules get more excited and more active and reach a closer state of equilibrium, which equals more entropy. Yes. So the more accurate the clock is, the more entropy it creates. Did you look into...
I like the way they made it very easy to understand, like, how it increases entropy. So it says the march toward increasing entropy explains why some processes can proceed forward in time but not in reverse. It's easy to mix cream into coffee, but exceedingly difficult to separate it again. Machines also increase disorder as they operate, for example, by giving off heat that boosts the entropy of their surroundings. That means even a standard battery-powered clock produces entropy as it ticks. So I just like it kind of it made entropy make sense to me when the way they described it there.
Yeah, and it brought in the arrow of time. I had to look into that. Did you check that out?
So explain this to me.
Yes, scientists say that time can't go backwards because the universe prefers entropy. Why? So they wonder, why did the universe begin orderly and get messy? So entropy, and the concept of entropy, is also the idea of time, because time is measured by things going from an orderly state to
disorderly.
Yes. They did a study. Gravity interacting particles show an orderly state that branches out into two directions of disorder. So you can see here the red marbles and the blue marbles represent the early orderly state. And if you let them all just go, it'll create disorder. They kind of discovered this concept in steam engines in the 19th century because two tanks of steam at different temperatures, when opened up to each other, will just mix and reach equilibrium. So that's what this represents. And also the total possibilities of these marbles or gas molecules to be in this disorderly state here, there's more of those scenarios than the scenarios that allow it to be orderly. It's only a few. So if you were to pick a scenario out of a hat, you'd most likely get a disorderly state where everything's mixed.
Do they talk about what the few natural orderly states would be?
Yeah, this at the top. Everything, in the scope of the universe, it would be the Big Bang, when everything was close and tightly mixed together.
So but we have nothing in our existing reality today that represents this low entropy state of perfect order.
Good question. I think so, but it would be the beginning process of things. So we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Because they do a test.
Sorry, I'm way too stupid to understand this, but I'm going to try my hardest.
So basically the question is, did the universe begin orderly and grow into entropy? And the answer was that if it is following that process, it still has a long way to go until it's in equilibrium.
Got you.
And what they observe...
Perfect disorderly.
Yeah, and what they observe is that... I'm mixing that up. Hold on, this dog. Flash, shut it. Hey, over here. Go back. I'm boarding a dog right now and he's whining.
It's all right. I didn't hear him.
I can hear him.
That's distracting. Understand.
So the physicists proposed entropy to quantify a disorder of heat-shifting systems. Entropy of the second law of thermodynamics, basically the entropy of a closed system tends to increase until reaching equilibrium, the maximum state of disorder. So time goes from past, present to future because it progresses from low entropy to high entropy. So the whole conversation is about the universe and the Big Bang, but they can do statistical models like this blue and red marble box here. And then when they observe the universe, it shows one thing. I'll get to that. It's confusing me. But the universe's entropy has been increasing since the Big Bang. If the universe's entropy has been increasing since the Big Bang, it's still nowhere near a state of equilibrium. But if you randomly picked the entropy state out of a hat, it would almost certainly be in equilibrium. So statistically, the universe should be in equilibrium. But a universe in equilibrium is not what scientists observe, past or present. So it's not matching up with the statistical model that they predict. It's matching up with that it's still like in its beginning phase, basically, if anything.
How do
So
they define whether it is in equilibrium or not in equilibrium? Are they looking at molecules? What are they looking at when they talk about these scenarios? They're looking at molecules. Or
they do a
like the
they
arrangement
they
of atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons, quarks, gluons, like all that shit. Or is this
they do a test right here.
okay? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What is the experiment like? How do they?
Yeah, I was just not there yet. I go in order.
Okay, my bad, dude. I
But
didn't
I
read
also
it, so I'm cutting you off. My bad.
It's cool. So the universe, they want to prove that the universe is typical, not needing a lucky set of circumstances to evolve as it did. But the Big Bang explained by entropy is very slippery. So they're trying to explain the Big Bang with this statistical model of entropy based off of how gas finds an equilibrium. So time is measured by this decay. So time is entropy. So time is irreversible, but another thing they talk about is that the laws of physics would work the same if time was reversed. Newton's first and second and third law would still apply if things worked backwards. So they're trying to think, how could we reverse time based off of what even is time, which is entropy. So they're trying to like understand entropy and how it applies, even if it does. And when they observe the universe, it doesn't follow. So it doesn't really explain the universe so far, but they want to prove that it doesn't need this lucky set of circumstances, which apparently it does, because every time they observe, it doesn't follow what they think they know. So it's like the universe is still this big mystery. The Big Bang, a hot, dense ball of matter and energy, is seen on one hand by scientists as being an orderly, low entropy state. And then other scientists see it as a packed container of gas molecules in equilibrium already. So it's like they can't even agree on what way to perceive and model the universe when trying to understand.
I guess that kind of answers my questions. They're looking at the equilibrium of molecules. They say gas molecules that are in equilibrium already.
Yeah. So they're just using this gas molecule model of equilibrium and entropy to match it with what they see in the universe. Because if the universe did happen with the Big Bang, because the Big Bang represents this study right here, and this is called a Janus point. Let me see what he did here. It's a simulation. They set up a toy universe. They examine the workings of the complex cosmos without the messy details. They made a universe that consisted of 1,000 particles in limitless space that interacted solely through Newtonian gravity. Because gravity is the other big key. It's like, because gravity exists, now you have this dynamic process where things go from low entropy to high entropy, which is ultimately time. So in this study, the Janus point is right here in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And this relates to the arrow of time, because from this Janus point, things expand into disorder, but in two opposing temporal time paths, forward and backwards, almost like antimatter. So basically, if this holds up, our universe is also expanding backwards, and there's a copy going backwards.
What the hell?
Yeah. So the way they did this study wasn't to kind of let it run continuously. From what I understand, they took snapshots and kept the snapshots in order, but they were mostly random, and it still revealed a pattern that this low entropy state naturally increased into this disorderly state, both front and back. And then over time, it comes back for a moment, and then it goes out again.
What?
Yeah, so
that's what the universe is doing, where everything is still expanding out and basically going to reach this point of equilibrium, and then it's going to all come back together, right? Is that the idea?
But just for a moment, because it goes out again
before it goes again.
Yeah. So, and that's the Janus point.
It's hard to wrap your head around that.
Yeah. So
all this is hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah, that's the Janus point.
Whoa.
And there's a lot more in this article that I didn't get notes on, but that's the gist of it. Let me read this. That was if gravity is the crucial ingredient that explains why time flows forward, Barber says, then perhaps a new measure that incorporates gravity should replace the steam engine-inspired concept of entropy. A new measure that incorporates gravity should replace the steam engine. So that's the original concept of entropy, was that steam engine observation.
Yeah.
So if they just learn that gravity is part of it, then they have to redefine. And this also reminds me of, I forgot who the scientist was, but his theory was that the universe is flashing at like 1.41 trillion times a second from a singular point. And that's the basis for the hologram universe, is that it is a hologram. It's constantly flashing. So, which means it's constantly going out of existence. So that could be this Janus point, if that's what that guy's getting at. Like, it's constantly going back to an infinitely small thing. Like, the Big Bang is basically happening 1.4 something trillion times a second.
Oh, so you're saying it's constantly happening?
Yeah, that's reality, is this super fast flash. And it's based off of a fundamental math equation that would make it like with the speed of light and shit.
That's so that really heady.
And that's why, according to that theory, scientists observe an expanding universe, but they can't find much more because it is always expanding when they look at it.
But
when they look, it's like
but the split second later, it's actually contracting too.
Yeah, so if it's a hologram and there is this Janus
why can we only observe the expansion point then? And why couldn't we observe the point where it comes back to that Janus point? Why are we seeing no observation of that and only observing the expansion?
Interesting. I don't know. Good question.
I don't know either. I'm not a physicist.
Maybe just the limit of our five senses. We can't see those antimatter frequencies, radio waves. We can just see this.
But even with the instruments that we use outside of our five senses.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Saying that dude's equation is wrong. No, I'm just...
I'll have to remember about that. And I bought one of his books. He wrote a couple of books. I can probably find his name. I can definitely find his name. So the arrow of time is basically a law of thermodynamics with equilibrium in closed systems. And the Big Bang and the evolution of the universe appears to match this Janus point model. But when they observe it, it doesn't match up with being in equilibrium. It's still not in equilibrium. So, yeah, does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Probably does, but, man, my brain is just struggling with it.
Yeah, it's...
too dumb. Trying. It's interesting stuff. All about, like, how matter and life itself has come to be, but those are real heavy subjects and hard to wrap your head around.
I love how they don't discover shit every time they're on the cutting edge of discovering
right,
like the fundamental core of the universe. They're like, oh, we don't know anything. It seems to go into another dimension based in antimatter. It's like, okay, now you're just reaching. But that's where they are. They're like, it's.
We gotta trust them. But those, we gotta trust all these physicists with the math equations that we can't solve or understand. I know
Trust. Trust.
Trust the science, Dylan.
I do trust the science.
Did you want to?
Did change my background?
Did you have any more on that clock article?
I would, but I didn't get to finish notes, so no. Oh, let's just read this little portion. This is the last section. Everlasting universe. If Barber's proposal holds up, it will offer intriguing evidence that the universe is eternal, with no beginning and no end of time. Today, many cosmologists consider the Big Bang as the start of the universe's forward-pointing arrow of time, but Barber's simulations suggest the Big Bang serves as the starting point of two arrows that both point toward increasing disorder. The universe we know, the universe on the other side of the Janus point, undetectable to us, but made of the same starting ingredients, may be very similar.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and then that leads
dimension. So there's another you on the other side of the universe having this podcast on the other side of the universe, and they're smarter than us. They actually understand the article, whereas we're on the dumb side. We don't get the article.
Yeah, well, they probably have Starlink working over there, so they've had strong Wi-Fi for a long time.
Better Wi-Fi than us. Yeah.
Yeah, but what they started realizing was, if this is true, then who is to say the Big Bang was the beginning of anything? And that they could have right here a glitch and some new low entropy state starts off of this. I don't know what the word is, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have these two. The Big Bang could be a little spout off of another, and then it could be filled with all these little.
You're saying there could be mini Big Bangs that go on over time from these points of low entropy.
Yeah, I think
universe,
and I think that it's specifically. I'm saying that they started to realize, if this is true, the Big Bang isn't necessarily the beginning of anything. And if that's the case, they don't know where the fuck we are in the universe. Isn't that trippy, man?
Yeah, it's very trippy.
The universe is not necessarily the one and only place of existence. We could be in some obscure location of a everlasting interdimensional arrow of time, antimatter-ridden cosmos of just what the fuck is going on out there?
I don't know. What do you do about it? Just keep moving.
You know, it's kind of, it's almost spiritual in a way to kind of try to grasp these concepts, because it really makes all of the commotion of civilized life just so insignificant.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, who gives a fuck about 10 or 15 minutes in traffic, or, you know, whatever? I mean, even bankruptcy, that sucks, but it's like,
who gives a fuck about who the Secretary of the Treasury is?
Yeah, dude, if our universe is happening,
policy, who gives a fuck?
If our universe is happening backwards in another dimension, and people knew that, we could prove it, it would it would be harmony on the streets, man. That's what I think. I think feeling like you're just a rat in a meaningless universe, just a meat bag here in this boring place, you know, that fosters a different attitude for life and appreciation for other people and connection. Just that simple, like, switch being turned on, I think could.
Yeah, I think you're right. In some people, I think some people could. I think some people could learn this type of stuff and not have it have any effect on their daily lives. They're just so self-absorbed and egotistical and narcissistic that it doesn't matter. They can't gain this kind of perspective. And
there's some people that just don't get it. It's not that they're dumb or anything either.
no,
it's just
no,
like it's like it just bounces off their head, and they're like, "Wait, what?
Yeah,
how does that help me?"
Wait, what?
They're like, "What? How does that help me?" It's like, dude, it's endless.
Yeah, and we have another universe going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I don't know how it helps you, but this is wild, isn't it?
It is fucking wild. We're trying to figure out the building blocks of existence itself over here, and you're worried about your.
You worried about chicks?
Yeah, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You're worried about chicks?
Ugh, dumb humans, dumb meatbag.
I guess we could top it up. Yeah, I guess we could top it off with this.
Bornean Raja Scops owl are rediscovered after 125 years. This poor owl. They need to give this owl its own study so that they can protect this motherfucker.
125 years. Where has this thing been?
Well, they thought it was. They thought it had went extinct, and then they found it on those two islands and two different weren't two different genuses, right? Or not genuses, two different. The same owl, but two different types of it.
Mm.
It's in the article. Look, it's right there in front of us.
Otis genus and phylogeographic patterns of montane birds in Borneo and Sumatra.
The Otis buki on the island of Borneo and the Otis buki solokinensis on Sumatra. So, two of these subspecies of Raja Scops owl.
You know, in all this crazy universe talk, somewhere in the middle of all that, there's a Raja Scops owl sitting on a branch, dropping turds and scooping up snakes in the middle of the jungle. I mean, what?
And we're over here thinking about the universe expanding in the opposite direction.
I mean, Earth alone is a really amazing place. Just
it really is.
Like, how did it evolve? In all the possibilities of life in this wild universe of crazy shit, sideways iron rain, 11,000 miles an hour, neutron stars orbiting each other and just exploding, and black holes sucking things in forever.
It's
like
shit to think about.
And the Earth is just this green, grassy, watery place with
beautiful, really,
mountains and valleys and waterfalls and
paradise.
Amazing
Literally.
Animals. It's wild, man. How, and it just happened. How it just came about. Oh, that's so crazy.
We already live in heaven, Dylan.
Man, I think so. I need to get me one of these owls, dude. Look at that thing.
So you might not be able to. So here's the problem. We're only good at conserving what we know and what we name, right? This researcher that found this calls this out in this article. If this rare bird is endemic to only Borneo and its own and is its own species, conservation action is more likely. So their soul sighting during the intensive study confirms that the owl lives in the mountainous forest there, likely above or below the survey area. And those elevations are already threatened by habitat loss due to climate change, deforestation, and palm oil development. So in order for them to protect the bird, they need to understand its habitat and ecology. But it's just kind of getting lumped in with all these other species of owls. Like it doesn't have its own, its own naming and everything like that as its own species of owl. Which is causing issues with conservation efforts. You there?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the deforestation.
Yeah, the deforestation, and then I didn't know palm oil development.
Yeah, palm oil,
an issue, which I guess any type of production where we're harvesting natural goods is going to affect the habitat of whatever wildlife.
You know what's hilarious?
Habitates that area. So, what's
a rich person using let's not even say a rich person, just a person. We kind of got to be rich to have a Tesla and afford palm. If you got a Tesla and you can still afford palm oil, you're doing good. You're not having to skimp for like the value bottle of Jergens. You're doing fine. So you're a rich person. But if you're driving a Tesla and using palm oil and thinking, I'm doing my part for the environment, that is hilarious.
What do you use palm oil for? I don't even know.
I'm just imagining some skin moisturizer, like, oh, it smells so good. Driving a Tesla, doing the right thing. Voted for Biden. We're going to fix this.
Yeah, but to be fair, you probably are endangering or destroying the habitat of some wild animal for lots of things that you and I probably use on a daily basis.
Yeah,
to be fair.
I have 3 Mac products in here. I'm
we definitely.
Sure. I know. Shit.
Everyone's complicit, man. Everyone. No one that's holier than thou. You live in this society. You're complicit in the destruction of the rest of the planet due to the society that we live in. But anyway, yeah. So that was pretty much the gist of this article. They found this owl after 125 years, and they are worried about properly resolving the ecology of the owl so that they can have proper conservation efforts towards both subspecies of the owls that they found on these islands.
Wonderful. Well, I didn't read that article at all, so I'm glad you did.
I did read the articles you sent me, yes.
Good. I didn't get to that one.
I didn't take notes on it, so I was going off the top of my head and probably fucked up a bunch of things there. But
you did great. You did great.
That's what I remember from it.
I spent my time on the arrow of time. That was my contribution.
All right, so did you want to run through a couple more? Or
yeah, what do you got? That's all the ones I was able to get notes on. I pulled up this Apple's walled garden faces epic attack. What do you know on that?
So, Epic is in this lawsuit with Apple, and it's all about the App Store, right? And it's specifically around the 15 to 30% commission that Apple charges for subscriptions and purchases that are made from apps downloaded from its store. So, but let's go back, right? So back whenever the iPhone was a new thing, if you remember the first iPhone, there was no App Store on it. You could put music on it. You could look at the internet through Safari. They had a notes app, a calculator, some other cool things. But that was it. There was no App Store on like the very first iPhone. Apple said, you know what? We're going to invest, a lot of money into building this marketplace where people could build apps for our device. But we want to make sure that it meets the criteria that we set for our users to really enhance the user experience. So they spent billions building this infrastructure and also developing tons of tools so that developers can build apps. Now you have kids that can get a developer's license and, learn Swift, which is a programming language that Apple developed and engineered, that can go and make their own apps and start their own business and become rich before they're even adults. If they're creative enough, because the tools that they've made are easy enough for them to use.
I tell you what, if I was a kid, I'd be rich.
But yeah, really, if this was around when I was growing up, I would definitely have learned the programming language that's used, whether it's Xcode or Swift, to program apps, and I would take advantage of all the tools that Apple was putting out there for me. I'd be making apps and shit.
Because as a kid, you don't
games and stuff like that. But anyway, so Epic, they think that they're getting screwed by having to pay this 15 to 30% commission that Apple charges in the App Store. And so basically what I'm getting from this is that Epic has their own App Store as well, right? And in their own App Store, they charge a toll on in-app transactions. So they basically want Apple to allow them to, I guess, use their App Store on their devices. But the Apple lawyers, came back at Epic saying like, "Hey, why you don't have a problem paying a mandatory 30% commission on payments made on Fortnite through the PlayStation Store or Microsoft's Xbox and Nintendo Switch stores." So they want to basically take advantage of Apple's giant ecosystem, but not pay the 15 to 30% commission that every other app developer pays. And they basically want Apple to be like Android, where you can sideload apps from outside the App Store, which of course would open up security issues and things like that in iOS. And that's just not the whole way that Apple designed its ecosystem to work, to provide a good experience for customers, right? So I don't know. I don't know who's going to win the lawsuit. Either way, but I think they're, Epic's being super greedy because they're also suing Google in a separate case as well over the same thing.
So Epic is suing Apple.
Epic is suing Apple. Yes.
Because Apple wants 30% of which Epic has not paid.
Yeah, well, Epic last year, let me read this because I'm not super studied on this.
From what it sounded like, Epic has been selling products but not giving that 30% to Apple.
So last year, Epic had a strategy called Project Liberty, where they paved a way for Fortnite to purposely breach the App Store contract with Apple last summer, where they could, I know it had gotten pulled off the App Store point, and then they talk about that in the article here. Let me see if I can find it.
The App Store generated $17 billion in revenue during the first 3 months of that year alone.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Holy mackerel. I wonder what it's like working in the warehouse of the App Store. They probably got so much shit.
There's no warehouse.
Like the forklift.
No, you're trying to be funny.
Got you. Hey, but let's be honest, man. If you're buying Fortnite, you're an idiot. That game sucks. That game sucks. Play a real game. I don't understand playing these online games that have no end. I want a story. I want to conclude. I want to level up, and I want to be done. Like a book. Yeah. It's like a book that when you get to the last page, it automatically generates more chapters. Like, what's the point of reading this book? It's never going to end.
It's the same shit over and over. I get it. Yeah, I can't find it in here. I know it got pulled off the App Store at one point. They basically went around the rules and figured out a way to not pay the commissions, from what I understand, and have the profits go directly to them, but still take advantage of their app being on the App Store, where millions of people probably downloaded it, and Epic probably made millions and millions of dollars off of it from people playing them on iPhones, but they don't want to pay that commission. And Apple's argument is that it's the company just wants to get rid of the App Store commission to increase its own profits while freeloading off the ecosystem that costs more than $100 billion to build.
I mean, do they get a commission on in-game purchases? Like, when you buy a fancy flame gun and a new skin?
I don't know how it all works. I think so, but I don't know for sure.
Destiny. Destiny's
Apple.
Fucking awesome, but there's no end. And the storyline ends a little prematurely, I thought. Like, okay, I'm done. I have to buy these expansions. And Skyrim's the shit. You can beat that game 100% and be done.
I love Skyrim's cool, but it's super long.
Oh, dude, I've never beat it. I still never beat it.
I've never beat it either. I start playing it. It's like, all right, I'm 20 hours into this. My life has been wasted for 20 hours. I gotta put this shit down.
Hey, but
So So Epic contends that the iPhone has become so ingrained in society that the device and its peripheral services, such as the App Store, has become a market by itself. As part of that argument, Epic contends that Apple should be forced to open up its walled garden to alternative options, such as allowing other app stores and payment options besides its own. But that's where you end up with this weird fragmentation experience, right? Where customers don't know where... Like if I'm able to install apps from anywhere on my device, then that's whenever you can start getting viruses and malware and shit like that. That because Apple's not reviewing all those apps that are coming in through those other app stores or those other places anymore, right? So I'm just thinking from a security standpoint, like that would probably be terrible from that perspective. And that's kind of the advantage of an iPhone, right? The advantage of an iPhone is the walled garden. And and that's what Apple lawyers are arguing in here, that they are asking them to remove the competitive advantage. They want Apple to be Android, but Apple doesn't want to be Android. So we'll see how this trial turns out. Epic might win, Apple might win. Either way, both I don't really care that much.
Either way, Fortnite sucks.
Fortnite sucks. It's not like they're gonna. If Epic wins the trial, they're going to put Apple out of business and I'm going to be out of a job. It's whatever.
Yeah, and it's not like if Apple wins the trial, Fortnite's going anywhere. There's plenty of ding-dongs out there who just can't get enough of Fortnite.
Well, this whole league's built around Fortnite. Yeah. Gross. All right. Biden. Did you read the Biden article?
No, I didn't.
All right.
Take it away, J Mage.
I didn't. I had breezed through this one, so I'm not really well read on this. I knew, at least on the Apple one, I kind of knew about that just from other headlines and other things I've heard through work and things like that, and then coworkers commenting on it. But this one I might kind of stumble through. The Biden administration is considering to use outside firms to track what they consider extremist chatter by Americans online.
Yeah, this freaks me out.
The groups they talk about, so they say, the Department of Homeland Security is limited in how it can monitor citizens online without justification and is banned from activities like assuming false identities to gain access to private messaging apps used by extremist groups such as Proud Boys or Oath Keepers. I don't know who Oath Keepers are, but I'm going to assume they're a right-wing extremist group, right?
Yeah.
They don't list any left-wing extremist groups on here either, though, which is interesting.
I think left-wing...
This is just fucking scary. So they're basically going to allow the government, the DHS, to hire outside companies to spy on America. Yeah, this is just the fucking article.
Yeah, another example of the government privatizing their nefarious deeds so they don't have to be responsible and the public won't question them.
And they justify the fuck out of it in this article. Whatever gets approved and implemented has to comply with established laws.
And you know what? You know what's an established law in like half of the states? You can't criticize Israel. Anti-BDS is a thing.
Oh, you can't criticize Israel?
Yeah, Abby Martin's in a federal lawsuit because her speech was canceled at a Georgia university because she was going to criticize Israel and her work criticized Israel because now it's a state law in multiple states that you can't criticize Israel, and that's unconstitutional for a foreign country to affect our laws. But that's a law. So when you think about the Abby Martins of the world, that's who this targets, people who are criticizing. Not specifically this, it's going to be anybody, but they're labeling it as, oh, we're looking out for Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and those right-wingers. But they're going to be coming after people that are trying to stop genocides that America is funding.
Yeah, like Abby Martin. That's fucked up, man. It's really fucked up.
Yeah, super fucked up. Super fucked up.
Warwick added he would expect DHS to explore whether contractors could help them understand plots and trends emerging online. Researchers who already monitor such activity online could act as middlemen to obtain the information. DHS officials maintain the materials provided would only consist of broad summaries or analysis of narratives that are emerging on these sites and would not be used to target specific individuals. Okay. This feels really weird.
I can't wait to keep covering articles as this progresses. Next week, Biden. What's the next article going to be? SWAT team seizes bank account on family of 7 for having a Governor DeSantis for President 2024 party with no masks. SWAT team's going to be just like knocking out everybody at the party with the butt of their ARs. Boom, boom. But I was thinking earlier that you said there's no left-wing extremist groups, and I think there is.
Not that this article highlights. That's what I'm saying.
Right. It made me think that Black Lives Matter is potentially...
Well, not even Black Lives Matter, because I think the average...
The co-opted version of it.
The average person that would go to a Black Lives Matter rally is not an extremist. They're someone who has good intentions, who wants equality for...
Yes.
For their black and brown friends, and I can understand that and respect that. I'm talking about like you say, and maybe Antifa would be a better example of that.
Well, the Black Lives Matter thing is ushering in this critical race theory and all this wacky stuff. So there is an extreme side of that that's been co-opted. So I think the left-wing extreme groups are right in front of our eyes. You just can't criticize it because on the surface they represent real issues. Whereas Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, they don't represent anything other than these like disenfranchised incel dumb fucks that, you know, push QAnon, and the media can associate everything with them, like anti-masking and 9/11 conspiracy theories. And what's funny is that as time goes on, more people in Hollywood and government get busted for child porn and child porn production, like this Matt Gaetz fella. Allison Mack still blows my mind. Recruiting for an underage sex ring in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
That happened, and people still say QAnon's bullshit. Now, I agree QAnon's bullshit, mostly.
It is.
Do you know what I'm saying? But now the pedophile rings are associated with QAnon and Proud Boys type people, so people turn the other way. Meanwhile, fucking the politicians right in front of our face are getting outed for child porn. So it's like the same with science. As they uncover more science, they realize we know nothing. It's like as more people get busted in politics, you realize there's a whole QAnon. There's a whole QAnon claim here that's still holding up pretty strong, and that's that child pedophilia is a major part of politics in Hollywood.
What the fuck is with that? Like,
it's so weird. It's like,
why the child thing? Like, what?
I think for blackmail purposes, it's great, but like, why do people in these situations? It's kind of like begs the question: why do people in these situations seem to get caught with homosexuality and child porn? Not that homosexuality is bad, but like, you know, George Bush and little boys, Bill Clinton and little boys. You know, it's just like it's great for blackmail, but it also makes me wonder: maybe these people are in position because they have those tendencies and they've been blackmailed.
That's almost in alignment, like when you talk about like the Skull and Bones Society, where they're like, hey, you have to divulge all of your sexual secrets in order to be a member of this society, so that they can basically use that to hang over your fucking head anytime you think to start to step out of line with whatever.
Honeypots, you get people like that to go to Epstein's Island, and it's that simple, you know, like this. I don't think this is some rocket science scheme to blackmail people with their sex tendencies. I think it's very easy, if you are the establishment, to set up a system where you usher in people that can be and have been compromised. And those are your pawns. Those are the Faucis that sit up there. The Bill Gateses and all that. And the Elon Musk, who's been pictured with Ghislaine, and they have these past.
Why are all these powerful people attracted to children? Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, what's switching their head? Like, how could they get them to engage in these acts with children if they weren't already perverted, sick pedophile in the first place?
Yeah, I was just saying, like, the reason the powerful people are into that is because they've been ushered in because they are into that. But before that, why are they even into it? I don't know. I think psychologically, people that want power can be like that with kids because it's a power thing.
Yeah, because an adult would fucking break your neck.
Yeah. Now, I don't think every politician is involved, but I was just saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, that's who the DHS needs to fucking start looking at, is all these perverted pedophiles that are in power.
Yeah, I guess they are. And people are getting busted.
Good. That's where they should be spending their time, not on the American citizens, not on these dumbasses, the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers. I don't. Whatever. This is just another way they can monitor us and silence dissidents to regime change in other countries that we shouldn't be in the first place. And
well, that's why I have the backgrounds that I do. So in case they're watching, like if they're watching right now, I've got them fooled because they think I'm in New Mexico or Vegas.
That's right, and they think I'm just.
They don't know where you are. They think you're in a studio somewhere. And as long as we're on VPN,
I am on VPN. So how about that?
Next week I'll have the Andes Mountains behind me.
They're gonna, I'm in Dallas right now.
Exactly.
But I'm not.
I'm going to put the Mavericks game behind me. They're going to say, quick, get to the Toyota Arena in Milwaukee. I'm not in Milwaukee.
So I know we're probably pretty much out of articles, but I was going to say, did you see the most recent UAP sighting?
Yes, it went into the water.
What the?
Do you have the? Did I send you that?
No, I don't know, but I've been seeing everything about it.
Yeah, new sighting. It was floating around, and it went into the water, and they reported seeing a splash. This lines up with Phil Schneider, man. This is perfect.
Oh, Obama reacts from 5 hours ago. There's footage and records, he says. What? Barack Obama confirmed the existence of unidentified aerial phenomena that the government can't explain. The former president said these UFOs movement did not have an easily explainable pattern. This comes ahead of a Pentagon report on UAPs that is expected to be released in June. Oh, fuck, we have to cover that. So he's not really saying anything interesting, but I don't want to hear what he said on the Late Show with James Corden. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow. This is lending into Hollow Earth for me when you're talking about, these aliens that are going into the ocean and coming up from mountains. Let's do Phil Schneider next, man. This is leading into it. Phil Schneider. So you
got a movie you found on Amazon about this motherfucker?
Yeah, I'm going to give you my login and you can watch it as many times as you need.
I have Amazon Prime, son.
Okay, it might not be streamable, might be for sale, but I'll send you the link for it.
Okay. How much is it?
It was $6.
All right.
Yeah, I just bought it.
I might
just
buy it.
Fridge is the price of a latte.
Check this out.
Okay. Jesse is screen sharing. This UAP.
Hopefully that ad is not going to come through on the...
Oh, I see the ad. Saving up to 14,000.
I'm talking about on the audio.
Oh, yeah, we got to figure the audio out. Probably won't have any audio.
Though you can see it though.
Mm-hmm. Target locked on it. Is it freezing or
floating? No, it's just floating right there.
Okay. Then it drops into the water right here.
Yeah.
It just goes boop.
And talking about, they say that like the wind's blowing really fast and stuff right there as well. Like you hear them commenting on it.
Dude, it's just right there.
And then it's pretty decently sized, man. And so I listened to the...
And it's gone. Boom.
Oh, this is a long version of it. Anyway.
You listen to the commentary?
No, I did listen to Jeremy. I watched Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp talk about it. They have like a little 20-minute video on their site.
Okay.
I think he was the one who actually dropped the video or premiered it.
Okay.
When he was talking about it, he said there are a lot, I think like 20 or 30 of these objects off to the left, or like all around. And this is just one they start tracking. So, yeah, pretty wild stuff, man.
Oh, shit. They're getting ready for something.
I guess so. But I thought that was super interesting. You know what's fucking funny, man? I was Tiffany just leaves it on like channel 3 or whatever, like the news channel for like the local news, and then those talk shows come on afterwards, right? After the news is over. And this video came up on one of those talk shows, and they're just man, like they showed a clip of Marco Rubio talking about how we need to investigate whether it's extraterrestrial or not, because if another country or someone else on Earth has this technology, I mean, and they're invading our airspace, our restricted airspace all the time, that's a problem. Like, we should probably take it seriously and look into it. So there's a clip of him saying this, and then they cut to like the ladies in the talk show, and they go around, like it's like they go around the board and ask each one of them what they think, and 2 or 3 of the girls are like, "Oh my God, I've always been so into aliens. This is so cool." Oh, they're coming like just joking and being real stupid about it. And then they get to this. You know who Joy Behar is?
No.
It's just
sounds familiar.
Oh my God. She's on that show, that talk show, The View or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Her and
the old lady?
Yeah, the old lady.
Okay.
And she just rolls her eyes. She's like, "They're not here." And then like she starts to listen. The closest livable star is like 1 point something million light years away, and it would take this amount of time. Like, long story short, there's no aliens here.
Joy Behar said that?
Yeah. And it's like,
she researches. She's into this stuff. She goes home and reads science books all day.
I was getting so infuriated listening to this bitch talk about it. She's like, well, all Marco Rubio needs to worry about is the incumbent that's coming to replace. And she starts talking about how the Democrats going to come replace his seat. I was like, oh my God, like. She's like, yeah, this is all just blah, 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 whatever. Like, she just was super dismissive of it, acted like it was so stupid.
That
like,
show is so propaganda.
Why are we wasting our time talking about this? Like, fucking stupid old bitch.
Did you see that?
I got so infuriated just watching her talk about it. I was like, yeah, so you're telling me you have no interest in what these objects are at all, even if they aren't extraterrestrial?
Somebody without a brain does that. But like I saw these CIA documents of Ellen DeGeneres' show, like a correspondence between Ellen's manager and whoever from the CIA, that it was basically like, okay, Ellen's a go. She's good to go. We can sign her. This is great. Basically that Ellen is more than willing to comply with the CIA and intelligence agencies and the military to promote any programs or this or that when needed. So that's how these shows work, is that, yeah, it's fun conversations sometimes about this or that, but when the establishment needs to push ideas or dissuade ideas, they have these staple shows running on TV as arms, as tools. They can show up, be like, okay, we're going to do this. We need to run this. And then say, okay, back to normal. Do your puppy stuff. We're done. We're out of here. And that's why people don't believe it could be a propaganda show, because most of the time when they watch, it's about cooking or this or an actor. And then every now and then it's Joy Behar getting political and dismissing UFOs to an audience that
bitch is like always political. But
it's such a propaganda orm, those shows.
Oh yeah, that makes total sense. I could definitely see the intelligence community.
And you can see that with Joy Behar being ready to like spit off science facts. It's like they probably gave her these notes.
Well,
like,
she had the note. She was reading them. She was reading them.
Exactly. There you go. See, I didn't even have to watch the show, and I knew exactly how it went down.
It was infuriating.
Crazy.
But, yeah, you're right. That these shows are probably all propaganda, and it's funny because you think, well, Ellen can't be propaganda because that's she just dances and she has fun on her show.
She's a lesbian. She's like good for women,
man.
Yeah,
it's not propaganda. How? They're just propaganda for me to have a good time while I'm watching Ellen.
Yeah, like they're controlling my mind with Ellen. Like, come on, get real. Ellen is the real deal. You know, they're canceling her show. 2022 is the end. Yeah.
They're done with her.
It has nothing to do with the toxic workplace and all the accusations.
They figured, all right, now the CIA is like, her image is a little tarnished now. Now people know Ellen's a bitch.
She basically got exposed. Like, that's what happened. That's what QAnon did, was expose Ellen and her weird dark background. So,
well, the CIA is like, all right, the public's on to us. We got to cancel this bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the king of Thailand. I was talking with Ford. You know, my wife is from Thailand. The king of Thailand is now sick with COVID. And he also had HIV and bronchitis, some underlying issues. They don't like the king because he's a bad guy. And I'm thinking, oh, man.
They're going to off him.
Yeah, this is like... this is like a broken record. Oh, no way, a controversial... But he's controversial in a bad way, so it would actually be a good thing if they off him. That's the catch here. It's not like the president.
Bunch of wives and like...
He's got a couple of them in prison for criticizing him. You can't criticize the king. People miss the old king, his dad. He was a good guy. But if he dies, Ford's hoping they go to democracy and shit. So anyway, he's sick with COVID, and oh, bummer.
Oh, speaking of COVID, my appointment this morning was for my second shot. I figured I would do it right before the podcast, and we could just see the slow deterioration of my mental capacity and my health over the course of the podcast.
Okay. You got it before that was your appointment? How are you feeling?
I feel okay. I don't feel any different. I'm sure I won't get sick or anything until probably tomorrow if I do get sick.
I'm okay with the vaccine if it's not problematic, but I still just have like a problem because of the way Operation Warp Speed and all that rolled out, and no testing, and Bill Gates. Like, just on principle, I don't want to get it. But as far as
I do too.
Yeah, I feel you. But anyway, hey, we did good. We didn't talk about the mask today. We covered a little COVID. My dog is barking.
I'm slipping some mask talk in right now. But, the good thing about the vaccine is that now President Biden says I don't have to wear a mask. So,
yeah.
All right. That's no mask talk. Fuck it.
Any updates with the band? New recordings, record label options?
Nah, no. Just same old. We are got a show June 12th, just like I mentioned last time.
Got a show June 4th.
Nice.
Yeah, back at it. So, and because I got the Mac Mini, and because I got my plugins rolling, and because I got my files successfully transferred, I will be releasing those live records I've been talking about from my band, live at the venue, and then the acoustic live, as well as Son of a Gun will be having their stuff coming out this summer, as well as some Cool Deal me and Jesse are working on. I keep saying this, it's been like 2 months. We got a lot of stuff coming. We do. It's right there. It's right there.
I've also been saying we've had a lot of stuff coming, even with Golgotha and shit, and we do. It's right there.
And in all fairness, it's for the product to be better, because I put off so I can make these mixing notes and really do a good job, and also so I can have a good machine to do it on. I'm looking forward to editing this podcast on the Mac Mini, bouncing that video. I can't wait to see how fast. I bounced 12 minutes of 4K in about 30 minutes or an hour. Wasn't totally fast, but
that's really good though.
Yeah,
4K.
4K, 12 minutes kicking the soccer ball.
Pretty good, man. Because 4K is 60 frames a second. That's another thing.
Yeah.
If it was at 30 frames a second, it'd have been faster.
Yeah. So this will be fewer frames a second and not 4K. So I'm looking forward to seeing how an hour and 50 minutes of this is going to, because I know how long it takes on the MacBook Pro, and it's a couple hours. As well as the upload to YouTube is a couple hours. So
let me know. I'm curious. Text me and let me know how it goes.
I will.
I'm interested. Cool, man.
Great episode, buddy. That was fun.
All right. Well, I'm sure I'll probably start feeling like shit in T-minus a couple hours here. So
okay.
Wish me luck.
Yeah. Well, you did good. You did the right thing. You didn't let your ego get in the way and then start some political war in your house over how you don't like Bill Gates. And then Tiffany's like, ever since you started this podcast, you've changed. It's like a whole thing. So
that shit would be funny. Become full-blown QAnon after I start the podcast.
Oh, man.
I'm putting the fucking bumper stickers on the back of the Rogue and shit. Like
everything is a conspiracy.
Biden's not my... I saw one the other day. Biden's not my president. It said that pedophile... Something about this pedophile is not my president or some shit. Motherfucker had stickers all over the back of his truck. They're not taking my guns away from all this shit. Like,
yeah, nice.
Just start the podcast with you and just start buying bumper stickers.
Was it a big white Dodge Ram?
It was a Dodge truck, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It wasn't white. It was black, though.
Okay.
And it was in shitty shape.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Awesome. Okay. Well, good episode, man.
Good episode.
Hey, get me Glass Brain. I'm working on some releases right now. Boom, 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 boom. We gonna bust it up.
All right, brother.
Also, I have some licenses if you want to install Studio One Artist 5. I have extra licenses for that.
I might do that on my iMac, but I just don't have enough hard drive space on this Mac to do it.
Right on it. Yes, if you do that, because I'll probably build stuff and record in Studio One, so we could share those projects as well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, can I import Studio One projects into Logic?
I think there is a way. My friend Joe just learned how to do that in college with his professor, so I think there is a way to do that without exporting each individual track and then importing
that
it.
That would fucking be terrible. Yeah.
To open with, try it. Maybe we should try that. I'll send you a studio. Dude, I found out you can open up GarageBand on the iOS, GarageBand on the Mac. Because my friend Treasure is making beats on his iPhone iOS, and I'm like, dude, we have to be able to mix this. You know
it's fucking on iOS GarageBand. You could do a lot, dude.
I was digging through it. You can do a lot. He doesn't know how, so I need to just working with him. Just send me that, and I can handle it on my end. That's so badass.
It's not as good as Logic, obviously, but just
it's still pretty detailed.
You can get some ideas down.
Yeah. I mean, to EQ, you can bring it up a graphic EQ and filter everything, and okay, everything's filtered, panned, volume set, just done. Yeah. There you go.
I have that iPad Air that I got for Tiffany. And it has USB-C, so I might try plugging my interface up to it and tracking in GarageBand, just seeing how that works. Yeah. I mean, they have the default amps in them, so it's not going to. Whatever, I can't do metal in it, but it'd be cool to try out.
For hip hop and stuff, definitely you can use that because you can just get creative with that track and make it sound cool.
Yes, exactly.
That would be cool. I could send you bare bone beats, and on your lunch break, you can do like a 10-minute challenge. Just boom, 3 riffs, and send it back to me, and I can
Okay.
So many ways to do that. Anyway, yeah, cool.
Cool, bro.
See you. Let's do Phil Schneider. Let's get into that.
All right. Phil Schneider next Wednesday. You want to watch that movie?
Next Wednesday. Okay, we're gonna have to do a long one because this is a deep dive.
Okay. I think all our podcasts are long ones. We always do no shorter than 2 hours usually.
Okay. Well, I'm going for 3 hours because there's a lot in there to expand on.
It's good. I say we just go till it feels done, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
All right, bro. Next Wednesday. So if you do want to do Phil Schneider next Wednesday, or you want to give you an extra week and we do articles next Wednesday?
Let's do a couple articles next Wednesday. Keep that one easy. So we can also research for Phil Schneider for the next week, 2 weeks from now.
Okay, and we can, in preparation to that, any more UAP stuff that comes out between now and then, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and no mass talk. We did good today. Did good today. All right, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for being here. Check out the Patreon. You get the ad-free audio for free. It's public. I might privatize it again. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe to the social medias. Illuminati Telly. The band links are right below in the description. Check out our bands. Check out the show notes. They're right there. And as we always say, fucking, I don't know.
Because we've never said it before, but as we're always going to say, come up with something. All right.
I can only think of Hakuna Matata or Hare Krishna. I don't know.
Hakuna Matata, Hare Krishna.
Hakuna Matata.
Guys.
Bye.
I will cry. I will dance. I will die.